Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Bell, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, the Acting President of Shaw University, Dr. Gladys J. Falcon and his wife, the Board of Trustees of the University, leaders of government, public and business sectors, members of the university alumni, including Dr. Lee Monroe, members of academia, students of the university, the entire community of the university, both local and international, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all this morning. Yesterday, my beautiful country, South Africa, concluded processes of the 5th national democratic elections. International and local observers have already declared the elections as having been free and fair. By doing so, they confirmed that our 20-year-old democracy is deepening and thriving. To us, South Africans, these developments also confirm a host of other things. Most important of all, they reaffirm the correct path we took under the leadership of the African National Congress, the oldest liberation movement in Africa, of pursuing the creation of a united, democratic, non-racial, non-sexist, equal and prosperous South Africa. They also gave a thumbs up to our beloved and late founding president, Nelson Mandela's model of development and growth based on reconciliation. We continue to be guided by this vision, which finds its practical meaning in our world-acclaimed Constitution. Today, as I stand before you, as a humble servant of our people, I serve my people through supporting my husband, who has been re-elected as president, but also in the area of health education, specifically diabetes awareness and other interventions which demonstrably improve the lives of my fellow South Africans. I also stand before you because I follow on the footsteps of my heroes and heroines from South Africa, Africa, and the world, who led from the front in advancing causes to benefit humankind. One of these leading lights is Lilian Ngoyi, a leader of the struggle for freedom. She led the historic march, which was held in 1956, where 50,000 women across all races marched against the oppressive past laws in South Africa. Trained as a nurse, in what might have been a natural path for a black woman then, she understood the importance of health and well-being of a people in the grand state. She was a mother who envisioned a South Africa whose citizens would be free, not only from political and socio-economic oppression, but also from disease. Long before sugar diabetes or diabetes mellitus became common, she genuinely understood the significance of a healthy nation as a recipe for a successful economy. Today, like years long gone by, we are rather faced with seemingly daunting challenges in the form of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. This is because we inhabit a world where more than 382 million people live with diabetes. Diabetes is a major killer we should all be worried about. It indiscriminately kills both the haves and the have-nots. The International Diabetes Federation, IDF, warns that the current figure of 382 million people living with diabetes is set to grow to 552 million in 20 years, with a further 398 million at high risk of developing diabetes if nothing is done. Worldwide, 50% of people living with diabetes are not aware or are undiagnosed. In Africa, the story is even worse. 82.5% of people living with diabetes do not even know about diabetes. In Africa, an estimated 15 million live with diabetes, and this is also set to double by 2020 if nothing is done. At least 4.8 million people died from diabetes in 2012. Every 6 seconds, someone somewhere in the world dies due to diabetes complications. And if you can imagine from the time this ceremony started, how many people have died. Now, you may ask yourselves, why diabetes? I am neither a medical practitioner nor a scientist, but I am genetically predisposed to diabetes, both paternally and maternally. Yet I am so privileged to be aware of diabetes because I grew up to understand the disease. My late mother, Priest Ngema, lived with diabetes for nearly 3 decades before she passed on in 1997. As soon as she discovered that she had diabetes, she resolved to take action to make it look like nothing. I grew up not understanding that diabetes is a disease. It's just a condition to me. She was blind at some stage and had both her eyes operated in 1984. But even then, she pressed on and lived 13 healthy more years. Made of sterner stuff, my mother refused to abdicate control of her life to the illness. An ordinary woman, she had the zeal to care for her family, like all mothers would do. I imagine today, in retrospect, that she must have believed that her motherhood's role carried the burden of never to give up. Living as she did in the then South Africa, where millions of citizens struggled to make ends meet, in the era of hopelessness, she had more noble ambitions. It is today that I fully appreciate that all she was doing was to inculcate in us, her children, the genuine sense that we are truly in charge of our lives. With little access to ready information, she journeyed through the harsh conditions of the day. In spite of her simple lifestyle, my mother's life was rich, not only for who she was or what she stood for, but for the lasting impact of her strength on the lives of all around her, including myself. She traversed the mountains of ignorance, engineered or not, to create the opportunity for me personally to now believe I can passionately share with everyone the message that says, you are in control of your life. So the decision to establish the Bongi Ngema-Zuma Foundation, or BNZ Foundation, in 2010 was driven by a special personal passion, as much as by the desire to make a lasting difference in people's lives. The BNZ Foundation is playing its humble role towards changing for the better the aspect of health that relates to diabetes and non-communicable diseases generally. At the Foundation, we feel that awareness primarily, but supported by practical programs to educate and develop ordinary citizens, especially the poor in rural and urban areas and in vulnerable conditions, will go a long way in helping turn the tide. We hold the view that we have to address not only those we call vulnerable, but also people like you and me. This is because the challenge of obesity is as bad, if not worse, than that of malnutrition. Our vision is bold. It is to see a South Africa where diabetes ceases to be a killer due to lack of awareness. I dare say this morning that when it comes to our health, our opportunity to learn, know and appreciate more about who we are, or help we can get, should never be curtailed by anything. When we are healthy, we are able to see positive results in the increase of organizational productivity, which will spur continued investment in worthy economic inputs. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we all have a role to play. What I am fundamentally saying is that the power resides in the collective for us to stop diabetes from exploding into a firewall that will decimate our chances and those of our future generations from achieving prosperity. I urge you to continue supporting our cause and help us run sustainable programs with you as permanent partners. From the bottom of my heart, I wish to thank you profoundly for inviting me to be part of this august occasion. Seeing the smiles of proud graduates who have completed their studies always portends the brighter future we need to build from today and which is anchored on education. I congratulate all students who are graduating today, becoming a part of this great 149-year illustrious history of the Shore University. As you enter the progressive world as professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders, I would like to say to you, there is something richer than money. It is the deep sense of fulfillment that you only acquire by helping someone reach his dream. May you shine the light forward to a better world, one which puts the well-being of the people living in a safe and clean world first. Finally, I thank you for recognizing with your honor my humble contribution to this better world we seek to create. Thank you, Ngiyabonga.